Hey guys, welcome back. So I kind of started and shifted simply because I'm in the middle of things. So I'm going to keep these cards out here because I feel like they belong there. Anyway, welcome aboard, welcome back, welcome home, just depending on what's going on for you this week. This week is Monday, the 27th of September through the 3rd of October. We just had a full moon in Pisces. We just switched into Libra season at the beautiful autumnal equinox. And this week starts on the 27th of September with Mercury moving retrograde, 11 minutes into Monday. Wow. We also have a grand air trine in the sky. Right, so that's Saturn, the Sun and Mars, and the North Node, all in air signs, Aquarius, Libra, and Gemini. Here's what I want you to understand. This Mercury retrograde is going to be all about the nature of communication, okay? So this is really a Mercury retrograde where we want to utilize that internal aspect with all these planets that are in retrograde right now. The key here is going to be really utilizing that inner power, that inner discernment, right? We're going to want to mind our mouth, watch what we say. With the Sun conjunct Mars, it's really more about what you do, right? Actions speak louder than words anyway. But with all this Pluto interaction this week, I really want you to understand that your words are going to be powerful, right? So mind your actions, mind your words, and don't act or speak rashly, okay? Don't act or speak rashly. Hello. Wow, we're going to do it the right way. But I understand why that's there, so we're going to leave it. On Tuesday, the moon moves into Cancer. We have a few aspects to the Sun and to Saturn, right? So this is kind of about you in your feelings versus your feelings, right? Are you your heart or are you yourself? And what does that mean, right? Are you bound by your fears, by your feelings, or are you being freed by your feelings? And how can you communicate those feelings accurately and in a clear way, right? We're talking about the nature of communication. So how can you communicate your feelings to be in alignment with how you want your future to unfold, right? We have an inconjunct Saturn aspect late in the day, asking you to really be mindful of your actions, your process, what you do with those feelings. On Wednesday, I mean, there's a lot going on. Venus is trining Neptune, and the Sun is trining Saturn later in the day. So there's also a T-square, right? The Moon is squaring the Sun and Chiron, and the Sun and Chiron are pretty much in opposition for most of this week, right? So this is asking, where are you standing in your wounds or standing in your healed self, in your one-on-one relationships, right? And when we're talking about communication, what we really need to remember is that it's your job to find a way to be understood, not just to speak your piece, right? That is what communication is about. That is what relationships are about, being understood clearly. And if you are not being understood, then you're not communicating. So you're not being represented in your own communication if you're not really making sure that you're being understood, right? It's not enough just to be heard. And especially with that Venus trining Neptune, right? This is about real. This is about 3D. This is about how you experience your world and how you are connected to the world. So if you're not experiencing it or you're not connected, perhaps you can witness a way that you can deepen or expand or broaden your communication skills so that you can shift and change that in your relationships and your experience completely. Thursday is a pretty busy celestial day. There are not one but two grand air trines, one in water, one in air. So we're talking about the moon and Venus and Neptune, and the North Node and the Sun and Saturn, right? There's also a T-square. The moon is opposed to Pluto, both squaring that newly retrograding Mercury. So how are we witnessing our communications and power in relationship to our ideas and our feelings? What is driving us? What is leading us? And where are we honoring that? Where are we giving it power? Where are we creating from it? Where are we structuring our future and our identity in relation to the power of our feelings, right? And are we doing that? On Friday, Mars is opposed to Chiron. Mercury is squaring Pluto, right? So my dad used to always say, it's better to be silent and be thoughtful than to open your mouth and remove all doubt, right? We have a Leo moon. So this is about minding your whole self, right? It is one thing to allow your character and reputation to precede you. It is another entirely to expand to a place where you're too big for your experience, right? So as we have that friction with Mars and Chiron, and we have that dynamic tension with Mercury and Pluto, what are you going to say? How are you going to claim yourself, right? Are you going to claim yourself in a healed fashion, or are you going to claim yourself in a kind of that like bloviated over the top sort of way? And the key is you get to choose how you do that, and how you do that is going to create your definition, yourself, right? Your experience, the way that you move through the world powerfully or not. And the way that you do that is how you're creating your character and your reputation. So you have to have something to back those up. And so if you're not in authenticity and you're not in integrity with your actions, then you have nothing, no foundation upon which to stand. So be mindful. On Saturday, the Sun and Mars are, again, still opposed to Chiron. So this is really a week about what are you doing? How are you in active creation of your narrative, of your story, right? Venus sextiles Pluto, giving that a little bit of relief, but the challenge is to be self-defining based on your not just your 3D self, right, but your higher values. Because if you're just defining yourself based on your, worth, right, what's in your hand, you are not defining yourself based on your self-worth, which is always at the heart of what we're looking for when we want to define our self. And then on Sunday, well, okay. On Sunday, the moon moves into Virgo. Right, and the sun is going to oppose Chiron still, that balance, balance, balance. And Mercury is going to trine Jupiter. Also, the moon is squaring the north node, right? That Virgo moon, talking about how we're going to hyperanalyze, right? So, again, as we're self-defining, are we self-defining as that person in need of healing or that person who is healing? There's a difference, right? You can say, I need to work on this, or you can say, I am working on this. They're very different energies. So you can expand as you see fit simply by curating your ideas and beliefs to match that highest vision, right? So this is a busy week, right? It's a mindful week, right? We'll talk a little bit more about Mercury Retrograde as we get there, but let's start with Monday, right? We've got this beautiful Ace of Pentacles. Look at that cute little, oh, you can't see him, this cute little grasshopper. He's so sweet, right? And then we've got Temperance and the Knight of Cups. So we're talking about that grand air trine energy. And as we're talking about that grand air trine energy, we want to make sure that we have our feet on the ground, right, with this Ace of Pentacles. Ace of Pentacles, of course, being that energy of gifts from the universe, being handed something, and then you have to grasp it and put it into action, right? So we talked about the sun being conjunct Mars, requiring action, right? Requiring action. Nothing is going to happen this week without you making choices, you taking steps, you putting things into effect. So make sure that you're in that mode, right? And then we are clarified with the Knight of Cups here. So this is about moving forward based on your heart, right? You know what your heart is. You don't have to work for clarity about that. Just ask your body, right? We're talking about the Ace of Pentacles. Ask your physical body for that yes or no answer. And based on what you're feeling, move forward from there. Move forward from there. Don't just talk about it. And Temperance, of course, asks us to synthesize and balance and really be in creation of bringing forward all of the lessons, all of the awarenesses, all of the sifting and sorting that you've been doing, right, in your heart, and find new ways to put those into action in your life, right? I mean, that's big deal, guys. Tuesday, that moon moves into Cancer. And as that moon moves into Cancer, we talked about this being you versus your feelings, right? Are you bound up in your feelings? Are you trying to communicate those feelings? We've got the Ace of Wands. We've got the Devil. The Devil is about attachments. It's about historical attachments. It's about attachments to external world things, right? So are you bound up in your beliefs about your feelings, or do you have a brand new way to witness them? Again, we have another ace here, right? This is the Ace of Wands. This is about new passion, right? So this is about blessing and releasing something that you've been attached to, recreating this new purpose, this new motivation, this new ambition, this new reason to get up out of the bed, to put your feet on the floor, to move through the world, to choose your communications wisely, right? We talked about how on Tuesday the moon squares the sun, right? Allowing you to be in that place of examining who you are in relationship to your feelings. We also talked about how the moon is in conjunct Saturn, asking you, how have you allowed yourself to be created? What are you holding on to, and how is the new opportunity going to play out for you? How are you going to allow that new opportunity to play out? Are you going to stick to what you've been doing, even if it doesn't work? Or are you going to move forward? On Wednesday, we have that T-square, right, with the moon. squaring both the sun and Chiron. We talked about this as being a day where we're really working on our one-on-one skills, right, in terms of communication, how it's our job to be understood, not just to keep talking. So we've got the Seven of Cups and the Hanged Man. The Seven of Cups, right, this is about opportunity. It's about having many things to choose from, right? So you get to choose how to express your feelings. You get to choose which feelings you'd like to express. You get to choose which story you're going to tell. The Hanged Man says, just hold on, right? If you check with your intuition, if you suspend your judgment, if you create a different way to be, right? And allow that to come in, especially with that moon. The moon is sextiling Taurus in that Uranus Taurus on this day. So you have the opportunity, right, to shift and change the way you feel about all of these opportunities, and to perhaps choose a new one, or to wait to choose something new until the best option presents itself, right? You don't have to choose just because the options are there. You can wait until you have the best possible timing. On Thursday, we talked about this as being a day of two grand trines, right? Air and water, and that T-square with Mercury at the apex. And here's the deal. This is that day where we're really looking to balance our thoughts and our beliefs with our feelings and how we're moving through the world. So we have the Two of Swords, right? The Two of Swords is a beautiful card of choice. It's a card of opportunity. It's also a card of clearing confusion, right? And so any confusion brought up by all of these options can be cut away, can be dealt with if you're willing to be patient, right, on Wednesday, even though that's going to feel a little challenging. If you're willing to be patient and step into Thursday, where you might be able to make those choices a little bit more clearly from this state of deeper, wider resourcedness, right? That's a great opportunity too, because we've got this Mercury-Pluto opposition, right? That Pluto in Capricorn bringing in the power of full resourcing, allowing you to choose powerfully instead of choose just because there's a lot of things. Oh my gosh, what do I do? So if you come into confusion on Wednesday, just give it a little bit. Be patient, right? And know that the opportunity to choose wisely will come, right? On Friday, this is that day about we'd like to perhaps be silent, as opposed to being thought a fool, right? Leo moon, being mindful of your character and your reputation. So we've got the Nine of Pentacles, which is a beautiful card of is this a 6 or a 9? Interesting. I think it's a 9, y'all. I'm going to roll with it as a 9 because that was my first inclination, even though it's on 6 o'clock. Well, we're just going to take it as a 9. This is, I've got this, right? Leo moon, Knight of Wands. I have places I want to go, and I'm going to forge ahead, right? But this is rash action. This is moving in accordance with passion. That Nine of Pentacles says, you know, even though you've got this, even though you can, maybe it's not always the best option to just forge ahead, right? We're talking about character and reputation, and sometimes that means you have to wait. You have to be patient. You have to hold. And as we have Mars in opposition to Chiron, right? Rash action might not be your best action. We've got Mercury squaring Pluto. Speaking might not be in your best interest if you haven't given it a lot of thought and you're not clear, right, on what it is that you're looking for. So if you go off half-cocked on Friday, you're probably going to be sorry. So you might just want to be patient. 5 of Wands and Strength. So on Saturday, we've got that Sun and Mars still in opposition to Chiron. And here's the deal. We've got that beautiful Venus-Pluto sextile, right? So we talked about how this challenge is to be self-defining based on your highest value, not your 3D value. So we know that 5 of Wands is a card of posturing, right? It's a card of contentiousness. It's a card of I'm just gonna pick a fight and hold my ground even if I know I'm wrong, just because I'm gonna dig my heels in, right? But Strength is asking you to know where your softness is going to benefit you, right? Venus sextiles Pluto, to give relief to that stubbornness, to that willingness to hold out, to hold on to your belief or your opinion stubbornly, right? And so as the day moves forward, you have the opportunity to really dive into your own expansion and your own truth, as opposed to some crap you're just spouting because you heard it somewhere. So be mindful, right? This is a week about discernment. So on Sunday, these are gorgeous cards, right? The High Priestess and the 3 of Wands. This is that day where we're talking about being a little hyper analytical about your feelings, right? So we've got this beautiful High Priestess who's asking us to trust our intuition. The 3 of Wands talking about future planning. And as we are mindful of our future planning intuitively, how are we going to expand? Well, the way that we're going to expand is to curate our ideas and our beliefs to match our highest vision, right? We know what all those things are. We just need to be mindful of how our feelings and our identity as a healed person fits, how we can expand our opportunities for communication, how we can expand how we intuit and feel into this world and create from that intuition, in order to create that what comes next, right? That 3 of Wands, gorgeous, absolutely beautiful. So let's talk about the thinker, right? Number 43 in the Wisdom of the Oracle deck. You know, she's beautiful. I like that she popped out here, mostly because all we're talking about is thinking, right? 44, even better. So we're talking about the thinker. Isn't she sweet? Look. There we go. Maybe she'll... There we go. Strategy. Being analytical and logical. The ability to reason and strategize is the focus now, right? Take things at face value and follow the logical path. Your calculations will prove to be correct, for in this moment, there is no deeper meaning than what is obvious, right? We know. Things are exactly as they seem. You have all the information you need. Keep it simple, and you will win the game of life you are playing now. So keep it simple, right? It's very important this week to just be in that bare bones, to not be going off half-cocked, to not be creating any kind of extraneous or peripheral drama, right? That is not necessary. And doing so is really not going to, it's just going to create problems, right? We've seen this everywhere here. It's just going to create problems to pull forth from anything that isn't in alignment with your current authentic truth, right? And that's just about today, right? We don't have to be committed to the person that we were yesterday. We don't have to be committed to anything that didn't come in for us right here. We don't have to be committed to the width our depth or breadth of the illusions around us. We don't have to be in contention over anything. We just have to trust our gut, our hearts. We just have to trust what is and know that what is exactly where we're supposed to be. And in that trust, we are blessing and releasing anything that's not in alignment, right? So let's talk about this gorgeous, gorgeous card. It says reflect, right? This is a water card. So without a reflective practice, we end up repeating the same patterns over and over, unable to reach our potential. Oh, okay, sure. We just talked about that. This card asks you to sit in silence and reflect upon what has been coming up for you recently. What emotions do you find yourself experiencing continuously? What situations do you find yourself in often? If you are finding unease in any area of your life, if you have experienced anything like that before, when was the first time you remember feeling this way? How did your family handle these sorts of situations when you were younger? Consider journaling around these questions and allowing whatever needs to come out to come out. When we reflect, the intention is not to fix, but simply to view ourselves and our lives with less bias and more openness. So what happens after this week, right? This week we now have all of the transpersonal and social planets and Mercury in retrograde. Literally the only things going forward are Venus and Mars. And so that is significant, right? To ask us to reflect, to go inward. All of this retrograde energy is asking us to be in our hearts, to be exploring, right? Silent within, making those decisions internally, right? Trusting our strength, trusting our intuition, trusting that our intuition can create our future, right? Yeah. So be mindful, be silent, right? Move in silence. If there's ever been a time to keep your temper and keep your counsel, this is the week, right? We'll talk about Mercury retrograde, and then we will start pinging off our bigs as they go direct. So big blessings. Stay calm and be blessed, right? Good luck.